So today, for the time that God has permitted us to gather together today, we're going to look at Psalm 90 and verse number 12. There's one verse of Psalm 90, verse 12. Pray God that you will find encouragement and you will find enlightenment and inspiration from God's holy word. Psalm 90 verse 12 reads, "So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom." The church said amen. Amen. Scholars understand that Moses is the writer of the Psalm, and Psalm 90, verses 1 through 11 that lead up to verse 12, Moses says to us and helps us to understand that God can be a God of wrath. That God can be made to be angry. But then in verses 13 through the end, he says, but that same God who can be angry can also be merciful. You ought to shout about that. The same God that can look at our behavior and not be pleased. And yet the same God is merciful and gracious. Well, verse 12 then is the pivot. Verse 12 is the verse then that allows us to get from God's wrath to God's mercy and grace. It simply says this: so Lord, teach us, to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. So what does it mean to apply our hearts unto wisdom? How can we be wise of heart? I will submit to you today that one thing that we ought to do or can do to apply our hearts to wisdom is to first recognize that one day you're going to die. You know that today, church? One day you're going to die. And so you got to live in such a way that you're not reckless with the life that God has given you. And make no mistake about it. It is God who is the giver of life. And so the life that God has given us, one thing that we can do to apply our hearts unto wisdom is to not be reckless and irresponsible with the life that God has given us. Have our witness here today. Secondly, to apply our hearts to wisdom, then lets us know that we need the Lord. And do you know that you need the Lord today? I mean, the life that you live, you need the Lord. When you look around you today and see all of the turmoil in the world, when you see all of the madness and the craziness that's going on in the world, you ought to be able to realize you need the Lord in your life. Because somebody here ought to testify that when the Lord is in your life, the Lord has a way of calming you to the point that all of that madness don't cause you to go crazy. Lord, teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. Applying our hearts unto wisdom then next means that our trust in the Lord, especially when things are going bad. That's a heart of wisdom, church. You see, when things are going okay, the human tendency is to forget about the Lord. That we think that we're the end-all, be-all, do-all of all. And yet the reality is that we need God on our side to help navigate us through all of life's situations and circumstances. Life has a way of being hilly one day and in the valley that night. Up, down, and down later. to learn how to praise the Lord in the bad times. You know, our foreparents used to sing a song, and I like to share it, but I'm not going to sing it because I can't sing like Brother Benjamin. I'm just going to say the words of the song. But the song says this, church, I cannot make this journey by myself. I cannot make this journey by myself. Over the land and over the sea. I need Jesus to walk with me. I cannot make this journey by myself. A heart of wisdom understands that we need the Lord to walk with us. We need the Lord to talk with us. We need the Lord to give us peace. We need the joy of the Lord in our lives as we make this journey. Well, finally, church, a heart of wisdom. Remember, the first clause says, Lord, teach us to number our days. Yes. The days in which we live, there are a lot of crookedness going on. There's a lot of selfishness. There are a lot of people in the world now, they are users. They use you till they get out of you what they want. And then they don't return your call anymore. That's the day in which we live. We live in a day where there are people who pull strings behind the scenes. They try to make you think that everything legit on the front, but they're there behind the scenes pulling strings. And yet, the psalmist said, Lord, teach me to number my days, that I may apply my heart unto wisdom. So that even when folk that are crooked and users and pulling strings are at the children of God, we have learned how to lean and depend on the name of the Lord. And to do it early in the morning. To do it in the noonday. To do it in the midnight hour. And in so doing, we can demonstrate to the world something that we've learned. And can I tell you what I've learned, church? On the way to the seat now, when the psalmist says, Lord, teach me to number my days. A colloquial way of saying that is, Lord, teach me how to count. Lord, teach me how to count. Now, if I was given a test today in geometry, I would fail. If I was given a test today in trigonometry, I would fail. If they gave me an algebra test, I would fail. And I have a suspicion some of you would too. If they were to give me an analytic geometry test, I would fail. But church, there's one test